Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel, starting off with the 144,000, which will be the ruling governing body in the kingdom of heaven, which should be all men, the 144,000. And also to a lot of the 1/3, a large multitude of believers here in America, which would be saved, which would be men, women, and children. 2/3 of our people will be destroyed here in America, right? Of you 12 tribes, you Israelites. And you also have the rebels that are scattered abroad in different countries. They will be destroyed, right? And you have the elect that's scattered abroad in different countries that will be saved in this time, right? Of who the world willingly and ignorantly calls so-called black, Hispanic, Native American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian, Guatemalans, Panamanians, Cubans, right? We are the Israelites, contrary to what people want to believe. This is your brother Yeremia coming back at y'all with a lesson. As y'all can see on the screen, I have this video from Dabu77. He's well-known truther, or what do you call it, whistleblower, well-known as you can see. But he's not a prophet, but he does make a lot of good content. He brings out a lot of good information. So, brothers watch his videos, brothers, bring out his information and stuff like that. But as y'all can see, he has this video titled, it says, Trump declares public emergency and puts DC under federal control. Deploys National Guard to streets. Right? And, yeah, man, we're at that time. Right? It's not coming anymore. It's not around the corner. It's not down the street. We're here. Right? These are the prophecies. These are the days we've been speaking of since before, forever. Starting with the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, man. Right? There's nothing good coming. Right? If you have your hope in America, Babylon the Great. Only evil. Right? Especially if you a Jake and you trust in this place, we're supposed to trust in Yahweh Bashmiah, right? Because, there's about to be a lot of bloodshed, man. Back and forth between, Esau and his minions, versus the public, right? And we know that society is going down the drain. People can't afford to live, right? I believe they said it was for like the homeless, but people been homeless, people been on drugs, people been out of their mind. It's bigger than that, right? Esau knows, that the people are fed up. Esau knows, that people are, going crazy out here. Crime is going crazy, but he's the one that's enabling it, right? This man has been putting drugs in the streets, especially in J communities, for years. He's the one that's pulling back certain certain benefits that people was getting, like Medicaid and food stamps and government housing, all these different things that these damn Eves was on that they shouldn't have been on in the first damn place. Esau's doing this for a reason, which is all prophecy. It's all to help bring this economy down so they could cause a problem and bring the solution, which is martial law, all hell breaking loose, Jacob's trouble, concentration camps. These things are here, right? Now I'm going to read this in 2 Esdras 15 and verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, which means, woe means death and destruction, right? For the sword and destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, right? Which, this ain't just talking about races of people. This is talking about different classes of people, right? You're going to have the military fight against their own citizens, and you're going to have a lot of these foreign troops in here too. Don't forget about that. You're going to have these UN troops. There's going to be a lot of them. Right, because really a lot of these people that's born and raised in America, they're not going to want to fight against them people, but they ain't going to have a choice. Right, they controlled by the elites of Esau. Right, and you got a lot of these sleeper cells over here, man, so they going to be the ones actually, doing the sniping and the chopping heads off and throwing people in these concentration camps. That's what times we living in. For the wickedness of you Babylonians, the wickedness of you damn Jakes, going against Yahweh Shai, the Lord's using this devil, man. With swords in their hands, it says, for there should be sedition and among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. Right? So when people see stuff like this happening, eventually they gonna start wilding, and it's gonna give them reason to use that gun. Because that's the modern day sword. It says, in the course of the action shall stand in their power. Verse 17, it says, a man should desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And here's the point. This is martial law, right? And 2 months ago, let's not forget, they had these so-called protests called, I did a video on it, it's called the King's Protest. You know, where they were protesting against Trump, which I believe it was set up, you know, because they were talking about this then, about deploying the National Guard for the immigrants and all these different things, all these different problems that's going on in America and Babylon the Great. You know, now you need the military or the National Guard every time there's something happens. You know, they get you used to it. Because this is going to be the norm, man. And let's not forget, a couple years back, they was defunding the police. You know, a lot of police people was quitting. So this is what's going to be the new normal. You ain't going to have police out here. You're going to actually have tanks. You know, you're going to actually have tanks blocking streets, blockades. This is all going to happen. People didn't have dreams about this. The Lord was not playing when he said this was going to happen, man. It says a man should desire to go to a city and shall not be able. So what you think this is talking about? How you going not going to be able to go into the city because they going to block it from you being able to go over there? Right? Like down here in Louisville, Kentucky, right across we have a bridge, and right across the bridge is another state, Indiana. That's going to be blocked off. Or there's multiple bridges, but they going to be blocked off. Right? So, and these people know what's going on, man. You know, and I can only imagine when their food is limited. People, we hit that time, man, to where all hell's gonna break loose. So that peace and safety shit that they push into you, you know, clearly they lied, right? This is 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And they just had that little bill that they signed, last week or 2 weeks ago, called the Big Beautiful Bill, but all of a sudden this happened. Right? You see how they do things? That's why the scriptures tell you Israelites, you Jakes, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to never trust our enemy. Right? This man is going to continually be the devil, and he's going to show you that. He ain't going to never tell you straight up. The devil don't do that. He's going to show you in his actions. This is Sirach 12 in verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. You see? But I'm going to play the video. I already read a couple of scriptures. I'm going to play the video. But as y'all can see, people already know what's up. This comment right here from, I guess it says Skull 1000 grams 297. It says this is just a way to say martial law. People been saying this. You know? And they said this is going to be throughout the entire country. So whatever's going on in DC, how is that affecting the entire country? Because it is all the crime, all the things that's happening. Esau's letting it happen, and he wants it to happen so he could want this, right? It says, you know, and let's not forget these so-called natural disasters that's been happening, like all these floods in Texas and North Carolina and Tennessee, all these floods that's been happening, all these storms, you know, it's all judgment from YASHAMIAHLA, you know, regardless. But, you know, all these food processing plants that was burning down a couple years ago, 5-6 years ago, all these trained aromas, we didn't forget all this, man. The prophets been watching, we've been listening the whole time, you know, and paying attention. We know what's going on, we knew this was coming, so it's not a surprise. We'll play this video.
And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially involved.
See right here, this person says, I cannot believe people are wanting this. Create a problem or have a solution. Exactly, he's exactly right. Right? They created the problem, causing all these problems. Which, like I said, it's the Lord, really. You know, we happy about it, because it's the only way we can get the kingdom is if Esau's system collapses and it's be destroyed. We ain't gonna be able to get our kingdom, and this place is still here. That's not how it's gonna work. It has to get bad in order for our Lord to return and for us to be saved out of trouble, man. For us to have miracles be done. Now, people that saying it's good, they don't know what they're asking for. They don't know what they're asking for. They think they're going to be able to escape it or something because you might have ammunition or you got food stocked up. Nigga, you don't know where you going to be at when shit really do pop off. You don't know. You don't know how long it's going to last. You don't know how bad it's really going to get out here. You don't know that. We coming into the worst time since there ever was, since there was a nation. Like it says in Daniel chapter 12. Let's play the video again.
In Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act, you know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening. They've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And this is an unprecedented move. And it comes on the heel.
Like I said, this is going to be out all throughout America, man. You know, y'all can't see it, but I got a TV. And, you know, it's on YouTube as well. And it says CNN Trump national takeover of city police will go further than DC. And it will. Right? The scriptures say what they say. It's not a lie. The scriptures prophesied this first before any truther, any whistleblower, any prepper, any one of these Edomites that claim to have the truth or claim to know what's going on in the Bible been written about these things thousands of years ago. Right? Let me play the video again.
Of their man Big Balls getting beat down in D.C. They never seem to care about anyone else getting stabbed, shot, and killed. Seth Riches, anything else in the past, but all of a sudden now they care. They care about going after truckies, right? Isn't that what a lot of the small-minded people out there are thinking? You think that this is all about truckies? What about the people that have a 9-to-5 that work all week and live out of...
You see, right here, that's what I said. Trump federal takeover of city police will go further than D.C. And it will.
Or are homeless. What kind of camp are they going into? Huh? Do you ever stop to think about that and see the bigger picture? Of course. People that are on drugs need help. That's obvious. But that's where it stops with some of you. Your small mind can't seem to see the bigger picture of what they're doing. Just like you can't see with these strike teams going around rounding people up, that the moment they lock people back down again, they're going to be used on purebloods.
Exactly. Well, I don't know what he means by that, but you know, like I said, this man ain't a prophet, man, but he knows what's going on to a certain extent, but he don't have the truth. You know, the elders and apostles and the men on down, you know, hey, got the truth, man. But you know, they're not gonna tell you, hey, you know, right now at least that the Israelites are the problem. We the problem, man. You know, the prophets according to them, right? Because eventually we're gonna get blamed for everything that's going on. The persecution's got to come. They've already been starting to round up a lot of the northern kingdom, and that's not even the ones that's doing stuff that they ain't supposed to be doing. They picking up, you know, everyday average northern kingdom Israelites that's working hard for their money, right? Not doing dirty shit to get their money, right? You know, which is the ICE agents. They picking them up, but there's a lot of stuff going on. This man Esau has lost control of his kingdom, right? He's lost control of the narrative of who he is and, you know, what he is. So it's bigger than, you know, people on drugs and crime and all that. This man don't give a fuck about these people, man. He wants these people to kill each other, especially us, the Israelites, because we the chosen people, right? He don't care about his own people either, or you other nations, right? But it's deeper than that, right? Let me play the video.
Better see the bigger picture of what's happening here. The federalization of a city is no joke. Taking over the police force is no joke. Putting the National Guard on the streets against the people to do whatever they need to do, he said, is no joke. And it happens. Now, D.C. is its own little neck of the woods with its own laws. And it's just like London, just like the Vatican. I've explained this in separate videos. But this sets a precedent. Anyone that wants to show up saying, how can you be against them treating people for drugs? We never said that. Not once. You just made it up. We've never said that.
You're just assuming that, or you're clinging to garbage. Yeah, they need help, but you won't face the bigger question. What happens to all the other people out here that are homeless? How does it affect them? What kind of camp are they going in? That's the issue. Not people on drugs that need the help, not that. It's everything.
And I believe through the Spirit, you know, like I said, we know the Lord is in control of everything, but I believe the Lord is using this man to cause certain so-called natural disasters like all these floods. It's destroying people's homes and destroying people's properties, destroying whole cities and towns. These people are people gonna be homeless. They ain't gonna have nothing left. So that's what we gonna have to have faith, because eventually brothers might have to move out of a certain area, and you ain't gonna be able to stay there because of what's going on or how polluted it is. That's why the scriptures say, except those days be sure there shall no flesh be saved. Right? So they have a reason, you know, to do these things. This is let me get the scripture in 2 Ezra 16 and verse 68. It says, "For behold, the burning wrath of the great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you being idle with things offered to idols." Right, offering y'all that sea hip, right? And that's an idol, man. And a lot of y'all Israelites believe in this man, and you gonna cleave unto him. And he's an idol to you, not to us. It says, "And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision, and in reproach trying their foot." So a lot of y'all Israelites gonna be destroyed. We don't care about the other nations. The Lord don't care about the other nations, but you Israelites. That's who this Bible was for. "For there should be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those there for the Lord." All right, and like I said, they've been talking about they gonna come against people that's against the small hats, right? That's what they really doing, right? It says, "And they should be like madmen, spraying them, but still spoiling and destroying those that for the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, and then they shall be known who is my chosen. They shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloveds, said the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh is your God." Right? So we can't be afraid, man, of this man. We only supposed to fear YASHAMIAHLA. That's it. And we know these things are coming. So keep the faith, Jake. You know, stay prayed up. Hey, ask the Lord to enhance your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and, you know, stay steadfast to the end. So I'm going to close out. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone. Until next time, I want to say Baba Shalom.